Well, hello there. I was doing some searching on the internet about uh, why factories suck, and of course, there's a lot of reasons why, and I never found on all of the internet or on YouTube or Dailymotion or any of those things a comprehensive list, which there are a lot of reasons why factories suck, from bad management, bad working conditions, inconsistent pay, uh, and bad benefits, and all of that. So, I thought that I would go ahead, fill the gap, and give a little bit of my knowledge on why factory work is a bad deal and why I'm not saying it should be avoided. It is work that needs to be done, but maybe this aware, more people will be made aware of how much it sucks, and they can try and make a change or something. But uh, well, this so be clear, this is going to be a series because there's a lot of reasons why it sucks. So the first reason is the pay. Now, most people think, well, it's a factory, the pay's good. Well, this could be a two-part thing on itself on the pay, because first of all, there's a different methods of pay. I mean, you got straight pay, like they say, we'll just pay you, $20 an hour or whatever. Then there's a mixed hybrid system where they say we'll pay you $12 an hour plus a bonus, and the bonus can be $10 to $15 an hour extra, leading to anywhere between $20 to $25 an hour. Then there's also what's called a rate shop, which is where you get no actual hourly pay. You only get paid for what goes out the door, and that leads to all kinds of bizarre problems of its own. And I will definitely be covering those problems in another video, because that's what caused me to quit. But to quit the industry altogether. But first of all, the pay is very inconsistent. I mean, let's say, because the thing is, first of all, you are prone to recessions. The factories are prone to recessions, especially in the RV industry and the yacht industry. And I worked heavily in the RV industry for 10 years. And the thing about it is, first of all, you're prone to recessions because when people don't have any extra money, or when there's a dip in the market, yachts and RVs are the first things to be hit. In fact, Elkhart, Indiana, which is considered to be the RV capital of the world, is widely watched by economists, because when we start seeing a dip in the economy, that's a sign that things are starting to go sour. So these industries are actually seen as an economic indicator of where things are going. Uh, but then you also got the fact, not just about recessions, because everyone is aware of the economic cycles. I mean, when you got economic cycles like, booms and busts, growth and recessions, everyone knows about that. But what most people don't know about is what I call the cycles within cycles. Because let's say you work at an RV shop, and it springtime and summertime is when you are busy as fuck. Like, I'm talking, I remember there were it can vary from summer to summer, from year to year, but I remember sometimes we were working 5 days a week, 12 to 13-hour days. And in the RV sector, the pickup is usually in the springtime, because that's when people are starting to plan their skirmishes. They're planning to vacation and all that, and that's when they're buying RVs. But and then in the summertime, up until about August, that's when you're the busiest. June and July is the busiest time of year, because everyone's just buying and going places. But then around August, that's when you start to see a slump in orders, and the orders go down. And that's actually quite normal. And I remember when I worked at one RV company, we were a company that made the frames. We welded together the frames for RVs, but we weren't actually an RV company. It's a company in and of itself. But at one point during the winter, we went down to 3 days a week. And of course, when that happens, you try and find alternate work, or you try and supplement your income. But yeah, the summer, just like 4 months before that, we were working, 10-hour days, 11-hour days, and then a couple months later, we were down to 3 days a week, struggling to find work. And then, of course, several months later, in the spring, we were back up to, fucking, 5 days a week, working 9-hour days again. So, and the problem is, uh, when your pay varies like that, it becomes difficult to pay your bills because most people don't save money. So when your income starts to drop like that, you know, you don't have anything in savings, so you're left scraping for cash. You're trying to figure out where your next meal or how you're going to pay rent. There were times, especially at Christmas, because at Christmas time you get a 2 week break, and that means you go 2 weeks without a paycheck. And luckily my wife and I always got by, we savings and everything else, but a lot of people struggled to get by in those 2 weeks that they were off on Christmas because they didn't save anything. Heck, there were people I knew who they struggled to pay rent, they struggled to pay their car payment and everything because they didn't have anything saved up for that time period when they knew was coming. So it's very inconsistent. It's very you can't really depend on your paycheck being as high as as it is now. I mean, the way I put it to people, the RV industry is one, or the factory industry actually as a whole is one where you can be eating steak and lobster every day for months on end. Then suddenly, if a recession hits or when orders drop, you're eating out of cans if you have a job at all. So it becomes very problematic for a lot of people, and a lot of people, when those things hit, they are unemployed, and that is really disastrous. I remember in 2008 when I first got out of the military, no one could find a job in this area because there were no jobs to be had in that sector. I mean, back in 2008, if a welder could find a job for $10 an hour, he was lucky. But nowadays, with everything, with the labor shortage going the way it is, I get offers for $25 an hour, though I don't take them because I have a nice comfortable job in the public sector. I won't say where or anything, but I am now out of the RV sector. I haven't even picked up a MIG gun or a TIG gun in 2.5 years now. But I finally just had enough of the bullshit and I got out, and I'll probably give the story as to why I got out in a future video, but that's pretty much all for now about the pay of factories, and expect more on this because there's a lot of bullshit in factories. There's a lot of problems and they never resolve them. That's not all of these problems. That's the final underlying factor. All of the problems that I just described and that I will describe in the future, they're never addressed. They're never fixed. Everything is all these problems go on perpetually, and they've been going back as far as I've been alive. My dad once referred to factories as the revolving door business, and I found that to be very true because what he means by that is, you go to one factory, get a job, then you get fed up and you leave, go out the door, and then the next job is just as bad, but something, maybe it's worse. I've had that happen, and you go back to your past job. I've done that twice, and it just gets frustrating. And I'm lucky, and I finally managed to break the cycle, and I got out, and I'm actually happy where I am. But there's a lot of people who are stuck in that cycle. They just go get a dead end job, get the company fucks them over, and then just go to the next job or back to their previous one, and it just keeps on going. It's a never ending cycle, and it's never gonna, as far as I can tell, it's never gonna be fixed.